Hello, drama lovers, welcome back to my channel today. Diane Jenkins finds herself caught in a dangerous web of deception as her latest scheme spirals beyond her control. What begins as a carefully crafted performance soon develops into a complicated situation that threatens to expose secrets, strain relationships, and place her future at risk. As tensions rise, Diane is forced into an unexpected living arrangement with Dr. Markham, a situation that becomes increasingly difficult to manage as suspicions mount around her. The drama unfolds after Diane realizes that she is running out of options. Feeling cornered by growing pressure from multiple directions, she decides to stage what appears to be an emotional collapse. Her goal is simple: buy herself time, redirect attention away from sensitive matters, and gain sympathy from those who have started questioning her actions. At first, the plan seems effective. Friends and family are immediately alarmed by Diane's sudden change in behavior. She appears exhausted, overwhelmed, and emotionally fragile. Her carefully rehearsed performance convinces many people that she is struggling with intense stress. Concern spreads quickly throughout Genoa City as word circulates that Diane may be experiencing a serious emotional crisis. Among those paying close attention is Dr. Markham, a respected physician known for taking patient care seriously. While others simply accept Diane's condition at face value, Dr. Markham approaches the situation with professional caution. He notices inconsistencies in her behavior, but remains focused on helping her recover. As Diane continues portraying a woman on the edge of collapse, Dr. Markham recommends that she avoid being alone. He insists that she requires close observation and a stable environment where her health can be monitored. That recommendation changes everything. Instead of being allowed to return home and continue controlling the narrative from a comfortable distance, Diane learns she will need constant supervision. Unexpectedly, circumstances lead to her temporarily staying at Dr. Markham's residence, where he can personally monitor her condition. The arrangement catches Diane completely off guard. What was supposed to be a short-term act suddenly becomes a full-time performance. Every conversation, every reaction, and every emotional display must be carefully managed. She can no longer relax or let her guard down because Dr. Markham is observing her far more closely than anyone else. The pressure becomes intense almost immediately. Living under the same roof as a medical professional means Diane has little room for mistakes. She must remember every symptom she claimed to have. She must maintain the same emotional state she previously displayed. Any inconsistency could raise questions she cannot afford to answer. Meanwhile, Dr. Markham begins noticing subtle details that don't quite fit the picture Diane has painted. Although he remains compassionate and supportive, he quietly starts paying attention to discrepancies. Some days Diane appears remarkably energetic despite supposedly suffering from severe emotional exhaustion. At other times, her reactions seem strangely timed, almost as though she is performing for an audience. The doctor's instincts tell him something isn't adding up. Despite these concerns, he refrains from making accusations. Instead, he watches carefully, gathering information and allowing events to unfold naturally. Diane senses the shift. She realizes Dr. Markham is no longer simply treating her. He is evaluating her. The realization makes her increasingly nervous. Every interaction becomes a potential trap. Every question feels loaded with hidden meaning. As the days pass, maintaining the deception grows more difficult. Adding to Diane's problems are the people she left behind. Family members continue checking on her progress, expecting updates and reassurance. Their concern places additional demands on her performance. She must convince them she is improving while simultaneously appearing fragile enough to justify continued care. The balancing act becomes exhausting. Jack, in particular, struggles to understand the situation. He wants to trust Diane, but something feels off. Certain details don't make sense, and he cannot shake the feeling that important information is being withheld. His doubts slowly begin growing. While Jack doesn't want to believe Diane would manipulate those closest to her, past experiences make it difficult to ignore warning signs. He remembers previous situations where appearances proved misleading. Those memories make him cautious. Elsewhere, whispers begin circulating. Some residents of Genoa City sympathize with Diane's apparent struggles. Others wonder whether there is more to the story. Rumors spread as people speculate about what may have triggered her breakdown. The uncertainty creates fertile ground for suspicion. Back at Dr. Markham's house, Diane faces her greatest challenge, yet when unexpected visitors start appearing. Every visit increases the risk of exposure. She must constantly adjust her story depending on who is asking questions. One small mistake could unravel everything. Dr. Markham remains polite, but observant throughout these encounters. He notices how Diane's demeanor changes depending on her audience. Certain visitors seem to provoke stronger reactions than others. Some conversations appear rehearsed rather than spontaneous. The doctor continues collecting mental notes. Eventually, he begins testing his theories. Without directly confronting Diane, he subtly alters routines and introduces unexpected variables. He asks questions at unusual moments. He observes her responses when she believes nobody is watching. He pays attention to details that most people would overlook. The results are intriguing. Diane starts making errors. Small inconsistencies emerge. Details from previous conversations fail to match current explanations. Timelines become confusing. Excuses become increasingly complicated. Each mistake deepens Dr. Markham's suspicions. Meanwhile, Diane finds herself trapped by her own scheme. Admitting the truth would carry enormous consequences. The people who supported her would feel betrayed. Relationships could be permanently damaged. Her credibility might never recover. Yet continuing the deception becomes equally dangerous. The longer the charade lasts, the greater the chance of discovery. As anxiety builds, Diane begins considering escape strategies. She contemplates ending the performance and claiming a miraculous recovery. However, she quickly realizes such a sudden improvement might raise even more questions. She feels trapped from every direction. The situation becomes even more complicated when new information emerges regarding the events that originally motivated her deception. Certain secrets Diane hoped to conceal refuse to stay buried. Unexpected developments threaten to bring everything into the open. Suddenly, her fake breakdown is no longer the biggest problem. Instead, it becomes just one piece of a much larger crisis. Dr. Markham senses the growing tension. Although he still lacks definitive proof, his confidence increases that Diane is hiding something significant. He becomes determined to uncover the truth, not out of hostility, but because he believes honesty is necessary for genuine healing. The doctor's persistence places Diane under immense pressure. For the first time, she begins questioning whether the scheme was worth it. What initially seemed like a clever solution has evolved into a nightmare. The lies require constant maintenance. Trust is eroding. Opportunities for escape continue shrinking. The emotional toll becomes real. Ironically, while Diane's breakdown started as an act, the stress generated by maintaining it begins affecting her for real. Sleepless nights, anxiety, and fear become constant companions. She discovers that pretending to be emotionally unstable can eventually create genuine emotional strain. The distinction between performance and reality starts blurring. Those closest to Diane notice changes as well. Even people who remain supportive sense something different about her. Conversations feel strained. Eye contact becomes difficult. Trust becomes harder to maintain. Questions continue accumulating. As the story progresses, Dr. Markham reaches a critical crossroads. He must decide whether to directly challenge Diane or continue observing from a distance. Either choice carries risks. Confrontation could push her into a defensive position. Silence could allow further deception. The doctor carefully weighs his options. Meanwhile, Diane faces a decision of her own. She can continue fighting to preserve the illusion, or she can finally tell the truth and accept whatever consequences follow. Neither path appears easy. Every day makes the choice more urgent. The pressure reaches its peak when a surprising discovery threatens to expose everything. Suddenly, Diane's carefully constructed narrative begins cracking apart. The evidence against her becomes difficult to ignore. Panic sets in. She realizes the moment she feared may have finally arrived. As relationships hang in the balance, emotions explode throughout Genoa City. Long-standing tensions surface. Hidden frustrations emerge. Allies become uncertain. Critics grow louder. The fallout promises to be significant. Whether Diane can repair the damage remains uncertain. Much depends on how she handles the truth when it finally emerges. Some people may be willing to forgive. Others may view her actions as an unforgivable betrayal. Trust, once broken, can be difficult to restore. For Dr. Markham, the experience reinforces the importance of looking beyond appearances. His observations and patience gradually reveal a reality far different from what everyone initially believed. For Diane, the ordeal serves as a painful lesson about the consequences of deception. What started as a temporary solution evolved into a complicated crisis that affected everyone around her. The fake breakdown may have bought her time, but it also created problems she never anticipated. Now she must face the consequences. As the story moves forward, viewers are left wondering whether Diane can recover from the choices she has made. Will honesty provide a path toward redemption, or has the damage become too extensive to repair? One thing is certain, her unexpected stay at Dr. Markham's house has changed everything. Secrets have been tested, loyalties have been challenged, and the truth is closer than ever to coming into the light. The next chapter promises even greater drama as Diane confronts the consequences of a deception that grew far beyond her control. The fallout from Diane's deception continues to intensify as the walls close in around her. What began as a calculated attempt to gain control of a difficult situation has now become a crisis that threatens to destroy everything she has worked so hard to protect. As another week passes at Dr. Markham's house, Diane feels the strain more than ever. Every morning starts with the same fear. Today could be the day someone uncovers the truth. The pressure is relentless. She cannot relax, cannot fully trust anyone around her, and cannot predict which conversation might expose a flaw in her story. Dr. Markham's concerns grow deeper. Although he maintains a calm and professional demeanor, he becomes increasingly convinced that Diane's condition is not what it appears to be. He notices that her emotional episodes often occur when certain people are present. When she is alone, she seems far more composed than someone suffering from a severe breakdown should be. The pattern troubles him. Still, rather than confronting her directly, he continues gathering observations. He believes the truth will reveal itself eventually. In many cases, people carrying secrets expose themselves through their own actions. Diane, however, remains determined to keep control. She spends hours rehearsing conversations in her head. Before speaking with visitors, she carefully plans her responses. She analyzes every interaction afterward, searching for signs that someone may suspect her. Unfortunately for Diane, this constant vigilance only makes her more anxious. Jack notices the change immediately during one of his visits. He arrives hoping to see signs of recovery, but instead finds Diane unusually tense. Her smiles seem forced. Her explanations feel rehearsed. More than once, she appears nervous when simple questions are asked. Jack leaves the visit with more doubts than answers. For months he has tried to support Diane and believe in her sincerity. Yet his instincts keep warning him that something is wrong. The feeling grows stronger every time they meet. Meanwhile, rumors throughout Genoa City become increasingly difficult to ignore. People begin questioning why Diane's recovery appears so unusual. Some wonder whether she is hiding information. Others speculate that her breakdown may have been triggered by a secret she desperately wants to keep buried. The gossip spreads quickly. Phyllis, never one to ignore suspicious circumstances, becomes especially interested in the situation. She starts asking questions and comparing stories. The more information she gathers, the more convinced she becomes that Diane is not being completely honest. To Phyllis, the pieces simply do not fit together. She shares her concerns with a few trusted allies, and soon others begin looking at Diane's situation through a different lens. What once appeared to be a tragic health crisis now seems increasingly mysterious. Back at Dr. Markham's house, Diane senses that public opinion is shifting. The realization terrifies her. She knows that if enough people begin questioning her story, maintaining the deception will become nearly impossible. Every new rumor increases the risk that someone will uncover the facts. Her stress levels continue climbing. Ironically, the emotional exhaustion she originally pretended to experience begins affecting her for real. Sleepless nights leave her drained. Constant worry makes concentration difficult. She becomes irritable and defensive. Even Dr. Markham notices the difference. For the first time, he sees signs of genuine distress. Yet he suspects that the distress stems not from the condition Diane claims to have, but from the burden of maintaining a lie. The distinction is important. One evening, an unexpected conversation changes everything. Dr. Markham gently asks Diane whether she feels she has been completely honest with herself. The question catches her off guard. It seems simple on the surface, but she immediately recognizes the deeper meaning behind it. For several seconds, she says nothing. The silence itself becomes revealing. Dr. Markham doesn't push further. Instead, he allows the moment to pass. However, Diane cannot stop thinking about the exchange. His words echo in her mind long after the conversation ends. For the first time, she seriously considers confessing. The temptation is strong. She is tired of pretending, tired of worrying, tired of wondering when the next crisis will arrive. Yet fear continues holding her back. She knows a confession would unleash consequences she cannot fully predict. Friends may turn against her. Family members may feel betrayed. Relationships she values could suffer permanent damage. The uncertainty keeps her silent. At the same time, another problem emerges. A piece of information connected to Diane's original secret surfaces unexpectedly. Someone discovers evidence that raises troubling questions about events leading up to her supposed breakdown. The discovery sends shockwaves through several families. Suddenly, attention shifts away from Diane's health and toward the mystery surrounding her actions. People begin investigating. Old conversations are revisited. New theories emerge. The pressure becomes unbearable. Jack decides he can no longer ignore his concerns. Determined to find answers, he starts conducting his own quiet investigation. He speaks with people who interacted with Diane before her collapse. He reviews timelines and compares stories. What he finds leaves him unsettled. Certain details simply do not match. The inconsistencies may seem minor individually, but together they paint a troubling picture. Jack begins fearing that Diane has been misleading everyone around her. The possibility breaks his heart. Despite their complicated history, he genuinely wants to believe in her. Discovering another deception would be devastating. Meanwhile, Diane finds herself increasingly isolated. The lies that once protected her now create barriers between her and the people she loves. Every conversation feels dangerous. Every relationship feels fragile. She starts realizing how much trust truly matters. Without trust, Even the strongest connections can crumble. As tensions rise, Dr. Markham finally reaches a conclusion. He decides that continuing to avoid the issue serves no one. Diane needs to confront the truth, not only for the sake of those around her, but for her own emotional well-being. The opportunity arrives during a quiet evening at the house. With calm determination, he tells Diane that healing cannot begin until honesty does. He doesn't accuse her of anything directly. Instead, he encourages her to ask herself whether the life she is currently living is sustainable. His words hit hard. Diane struggles to respond. Deep down, she knows he is right. The deception has consumed her life. What began as a temporary strategy has evolved into a prison of her own making. For several moments, tears fill her eyes. This time, however, the emotions are genuine. The weight of weeks of fear, guilt, and uncertainty finally starts breaking through her defenses. She realizes she can no longer continue as she has been. The truth is coming. Whether she chooses to reveal it herself, or someone else uncovers it first, no longer seems to matter. Exposure feels inevitable. The only question remaining is how much damage can still be prevented. Elsewhere, Genoa City braces for answers. Speculation reaches a fever pitch. Allies prepare for confrontation. Critics prepare to say, "I told you so." Everyone senses that a major revelation is approaching. No one knows exactly what will happen next. Some believe Diane deserves sympathy for the impossible position she found herself in. Others argue that deception is deception, regardless of the reason behind it. The debate divides opinions across town. As dawn approaches on what could be the most important day of Diane's life, she stands at a crossroads. One path leads to continued secrecy and even greater risk. The other leads to honesty, accountability, and uncertain consequences. Neither choice offers comfort. Yet for the first time since this ordeal began, Diane understands that the truth may also offer something else: freedom. Freedom from fear. Freedom from constant performances. Freedom from the exhausting burden of maintaining a story that was never real. Whether that freedom comes at the cost of relationships, reputation, or forgiveness remains to be seen. But one thing has become clear. Her stay at Dr. Markham's house has done far more than provide a place to recover. It has forced her to confront herself, her choices, and the consequences of trying to control a situation through deception. Now, as the truth inches closer to the surface, Diane must decide what kind of future she wants to build. And that decision may change everything forever.